What's up, everyone? Just getting a few administrative things set up and we will be good to go. But before I set all that up, let me welcome y'all to the official monthly Q&A for the applifestyle.org. In this video or this Q&A, we'll be talking about two things. We'll talk about Uber navigation, Waze, Google Maps, which one is better. And we'll also be covering any general holiday strategies since it is a holiday. So you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got the big days coming up. There's going to be opportunities to make money if you know how. As usual, I'll give a few minutes for some more people to get in the chat. Plus, we need to make sure the link is gotten down there because YouTube has been having some problems lately. Let's see. But feel free to go ahead and start typing in the chat. I'm assuming that y'all have been having a good run so far with Ubereats. Let's see. Hey, y'all, let's do a sound check. Can everyone hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, like type yes in the chat. Be much appreciated. Let's see. All right, everyone can hear me okay? Great. What's up, Bobby? What's up, B? Looks like we got a slight lag, but it's not too big, so we can definitely work with that. How's y'all's Uber Eats runs been going so far? Everything been going smooth? Somewhat. That's not cool. Why somewhat, B? Averaging between $12 and $15 an hour. Okay, that's pretty good. I imagine based on how you said somewhat, you I'm guessing you want to get between like $15 and $18 an hour. Been getting good boosts. Bob, you make a good point. Like this time of year, you're gonna see the boosts be high, and they're gonna start throwing out like more quests. The reason being, the Uber Eats and the people who do a platform like me, who do Ubereats and Uber Eats, they are gonna have their hands full. They're gonna be. This is the busiest time of year for rideshare, so people are gonna be. Drivers gonna be focusing on picking up people, doing airport runs, going to events, etc. And these people will not be picking up deliveries. Now, Uber is not naive. They know they got to make up for that. So they're going to start throwing higher boosts to like the Uber Eats only, and they're going to start throwing out a quest every now and then. So for the next, I would say like 2 months, get used to having like higher boosts, especially since it's starting to get kind of cold. Okay, B, you want to start averaging between $15 and $18 an hour. What market you are working with? At the 5 minute mark, we'll start getting into the subject. Oh, so you're in the DFW like me. I can give some personal advice for our market. They're amping up the weekends right now. So you probably noticed as the week progressed, the boosts start getting higher. They're throwing a lot of stuff for like the evening hours and overnight. You probably start seeing like, B, are you a Uber Eats only or do you do Uber Eats and UberX? Because if you're Uber Eats only, you should be seeing some pretty high boosts. Uber Eats only? Yeah. So they're starting to throw quests out, and they're also starting to throw like boosts like 1.5 and higher, 1.7 max. Okay. Now, B, I will say this. you can make that between that range easier if you're willing to go past 10 o'clock. A lot of people get off at 10 o'clock, a lot of drivers, but the demand doesn't stop. In fact, it increases because people who have had a hard work week get the munchies at between 10 and midnight for whatever reason. So usually the boost, they'll be like a 1.7, but if you hang around like at midnight, sometimes they'll go up to 1.9 or maybe even 2.1. So that's something to consider. You don't have to, but I have even worked overnight and did well from 2 to 4 a.m., 2.1 boost. Yeah, Bob, that's what I'm saying. That's pretty normal for this time of year. I wouldn't, now this was the weekend after Halloween, so you already know it's going to be pretty big, but even still, that's going to set a precedence for like the next 2 months. B, I will say this. You might, different time frames kind of give you a different average per hour. So your highest time frames is going to be overnight, the dinner rush, and the lunch rush. But let's say if you're doing this between lunch rush, which is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and dinner rush, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., there's a lag period of 3 hours between 2 and 5. That would be a great time, to get something to eat. I usually go 11 to 2 p.m. and 5:30 to 10. Okay, so you're already hitting lunch and dinner times. So what you'll want to probably do, okay, you're in Irving. Now, I'll stop focusing on my local market after I finish with B, because I know a lot of y'all like, we're not in the freaking DFW, Elijah. We can't relate to what you're saying. But the best thing about Irving, B, is it is right next door to Dallas. So if you do want to swing over to Dallas, there will be more opportunities. All right, we're past the 5-minute mark. First, we'll talk about the holiday strategies, and then we'll go into navigation. Hey, don't sweat it, B. I got to give some shine to my market. I mean, it is what it is. So, has anyone in the chat worked Ubereats during the holidays before, or is this your first run? Because the thrill about working Ubereats in the holidays is 2 factors. It's going to start getting cold, so demand is going to increase, okay? And some drivers will actually kind of fall off because some people, they can't deal with the cold. So you're going to have, in some cases, less drivers and more demand. And that's going to create an abundance of orders. I'm sure y'all have encountered this scenario where you keep getting a bunch of orders, right? But let's say not all of them are what you want. During this time, and I'll cover this in the Uber Eats Advanced course, but I call it the Uber is getting their butt kicked scenario. You're getting just bombarded with orders. You can be very choosy. So you set the standards for what you want and only take that, because it's not going to take that long for you to get that. Let's say you only going to take requests from certain restaurants. You keep getting pings. Well, you keep ignoring them until you get the ping from your specific restaurant that you want, or restaurants. Because during this time of year, Uber is most likely going to get overwhelmed. So you'll get to be more choosy. So start thinking about what kind of orders do you want. Do you want short trips? Do you want long trips? Want medium trips? You got to integrate that into your strategy, because it's more or less, like I said, Uber is going to be getting their butt kicked. So you're going to get a whole bunch of orders floated at you. You can take whatever you want, or you can decline some and take only the standards that you set. So like B, you say you're averaging between $12 and $15 an hour. I'm sure Urban definitely has a few restaurants that go far, but you're probably somewhat familiar with how far certain restaurants can go. You need to kind of keep that in your back pocket. So when orders start coming in, okay, well, I know X restaurant can go this far. Do I want that? If I don't want it, don't feel bad about letting it slide, unless activity starts to dwindle down. Because a lot of carriers, we get too comfortable with just taking anything that comes to us. And that's fine if there's not too much activity, but that's not going to be the case within the winter season. Gonna have plenty of activity. Anyone got any questions so far? All right. So next we can talk about the big wigs, which is going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, during these particular days, last year Ubereats threw out a quest because they knew that a lot of drivers would be occupied with their families. They may do the same thing again, but we got to remember not necessarily a lot of people going to be ordering. Like during Thanksgiving, certain restaurants are going to be closed. So keep that in mind. And also, there's a stereotype of people eating turkey. So do you really think that a Popeye's chicken or barbecue steakhouse, something like that, is going to be getting a lot of orders? I highly doubt it. So if you are going to do Thanksgiving, you need to keep those things in mind. But if it's not too active, you might just want to go ahead and pass. I hate delivering to hotels. I wish we knew the drop-off address before pickup. Miss Momo, live side. The thing about hotels, are people tipping in those hotels? Because most hotels, people usually tip. There's a difference between a hotel and a motel. If it's a motel, that's a different scenario. What you can do, Ms. Momo, you can send a polite text to ask if they can meet you in the front or meet you outside. Most people in hotels, they don't live there in most cases. They're there for a business, visiting a relative, or they needed a hotel room to do other things. I shouldn't have to go into what those other things are. But they're kind of used to getting up, getting out the room and doing stuff. So they shouldn't mind coming to meet you a lot of times. Yes, they do, but parking and door delivery is too long. Okay, so the major issue is the parking and door delivery. Momo, that's what you need to tell them when you get a hotel order. Like I have certain places in my market where I don't ever deliver to the door. I'm gonna be honest, because the parking is a nightmare. And anyone that has any sense that's ordering from Uber Eats, they know the parking is a nightmare in that particular building. So half the time they'll meet me outside anyway. But I still send that message as soon as I identify that it's a hotel, like even before I drive off in the restaurant. And halfway there, like, yeah, I'll meet you in front or whatever, because they know parking is an issue. So you might want to convey that to the customer. And I have like certain buildings saved in my phone, in my clipboard, that I have a standard message that I say out. Like, hey, the building that you're requesting from is known for horrible parking. Could you potentially, meet me in front? And they know parking is horrible. I mean, come on. Plus, you got to word it in a way that, okay, here's an example. Hi, my name is Elijah. I'm your Uber Eats driver. I see you're at the, blah, blah, blah hotel. Parking is always challenging in that spot. It could take a while to find a parking spot. I can get your food to you a lot faster if you meet me in front. You're basically conveying the situation, and you're letting them know that, hey, you'll get the food a lot faster if you just come and get it. So you got to convey it like that. If you just say, hey, come meet me in the front, you might get pushback. Convey it in a way that it's in their best interest to meet you in the front. Let's see. Parking is the reason I stay away from certain areas of Dallas. It makes me nervous, Loa V. Well, every city has certain areas that, let's say, it's not accommodating to us drivers. The balancing point is, does the area have a high boost, or do people tip a lot there? I'm gonna be honest, B. The Las Colinas in Irvine is not the funnest place to do Uber Eats. It's almost the equivalent of doing Dallas. Maybe not parking, but those tall buildings. So you gotta decide if it's worth it or not. And B, what you can do, you could try North Dallas out, or This is where you'll want to download the Ubereats customer app. It'll tell you like what restaurants. You'll go to a certain area of your market, and they'll say what restaurants you can order from once you put the location of where you're at. You know what restaurants to where. You want to get to an area where it's not letting you order from this restaurant, this from this part of the city you don't want to go to. Yeah, I do it all the time. That would take some ingenuity to figure out, where it is in your market, but definitely do that. On the same token, though, if the price is right, I don't mind going there. Like Uber is not dumb. A lot of times, these areas of the city that just has so much stuff that makes it hell for us drivers, they'll wrap a fat boost around it to kind of lure us out there. So I have a boost amount for each zone set where I won't service that area unless the boost meets this amount. Or unless people are just generously tipping. That works too. Let's see. Usually I have them meet me in the front. Yeah, Ricky has the right idea. These cats know they live in downtown and skyscrapers on the 30th floor and stuff. And a lot of carriers, they are really in a job mentality. They think that they just see this information, they're supposed to take the food to them on the 30th floor. But it won't occur to them to, hey, just arrange for them to meet you outside. You got to have a entrepreneurial mindset, okay? And entrepreneur is, okay, you realize these things take effort and time. If things aren't balancing out in your equation, you're going to balance it out for yourself. So you definitely want to start doing that. I think it was the part 5 of the Uber Eats course. I kind of was, at the time, I was saying some people trying to negotiate to meet in front. I said it could affect your satisfaction rate. If you do it the right way, it won't. And it'll save you a buttload of time. Like, let's see. My satisfaction rate right now, let me pull it up. It's 100% right now. You can't see. Yeah, it is. And I don't mind arranging to have my customer meet me outside because they know where they live. I mean, come on. Another thing you might want to do, check and see if the concierge areas are required to bring food up to people. In certain buildings, the concierge areas, that's their responsibility. Like anytime I identify that a concierge area is required to bring food up to the customers in that building, I write that building down and say in parentheses like concierge will bring it up, and I'll let the customer know I'm gonna leave it with the concierge, and they'll bring it to them. They're like, oh, cool. And that's another thing you want to do. Monique Wade, good advice. Appreciate it. I've been working. Stop because I cannot get my GPS to talk. Help me solve. Donald, are you talking about the voice command in the Uber navigation? Is that what you're talking about? Because I know you can enable audio where. Donald, what navigation do you use? Are you using the Uber navigation, Google Maps, or Waze? And that'll actually move into what the subject is going to be for this Q&A. Yeah, what GPS are you using? If you're using the Uber navigation, it's like Monique is saying, you go into settings. You can also, when you accept the request, at the top, you can tap and it'll show you like your route and stuff. There's a little speaker audio thing. It's probably muted on yours. Just tap it and it'll unmute and it should start talking. If you're using the Uber navigation, if you're using something else, we'll have to talk about that. I'll briefly talk about the holidays and we'll get into navigation. So yeah, for Thanksgiving, I already said, as far as the day of Thanksgiving, but maybe the day or two afterwards, you'll probably notice it'll be unusually slow on your deliveries. It's because unless people are just straight up gluttonous in your market, there's gonna be a lot of people with a lot of leftovers and they're not gonna have any reason to order. So the day after Thanksgiving, maybe even the next 2 days, you might see that orders are gonna be very slow. So those might be the days in that week you might just want to take off and take care of some other business or relax or whatever. You'll find that it will be kind of slow. Same thing following Christmas. All right, so we can go ahead and jump into navigation. Now I'm going to, man, this thing must be complicated. I'm gonna post something in the chat, and it's the article that is on the topic, so y'all can use that as a reference guide if you're not understanding anything. But who uses the Uber navigation? Like, if you use the Uber navigation, say yes. Because a navigation is a very divisive thing. You got people that use Google Maps, they use Waze, they use the Uber navigation. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone use Google Maps? Looks like Waze is a popular choice. Okay. No Google Maps. Okay. Most people have seen part 4 of the Ubereats course, but that part 3 and 4, but that deals with the benefits of Waze. The biggest benefit of Waze, and I'll list the cons too, is gonna be it uses the back streets, so it's not gonna always put you on the highway. Because the thing with navigation, you could be doing a lot of driving and you won't get as many deliveries if you're not using the right navigation, because you'll spend most of your time stuck in traffic. That's not good. So Waze will incorporate the back streets. That's a good thing. And Waze has it so that you can save whatever spots you deem to be hot spots within the map, within the navigation itself. And as soon as you drop off a delivery, you can go ahead and click a few buttons and it'll navigate you out that residential area back to your hotspot. Ricky, it depends. I use Google Maps sometimes because the Uber navigation doesn't use real-time traffic updates. Oh yeah. I don't have the article ready, but you can Google it. I don't know if it's true, but the Uber navigation, apparently someone drove into a park and claimed that the Uber navigation told them to do it. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. They would have to take some responsibility in that case, but I don't know. But Google Maps uses like satellite data. So everyone probably has Google Maps in their phone, okay? And it's as long as your location is on, it's tracking you. And let's say it's tracking a whole bunch of cars stopped on the highway, it marks that as a red zone, and then it's going to take that in consideration when it comes to navigating people around XYZ. The only issue is no matter what's going on, they tend to always put you on the highways. The save places help me when I get out of my neighborhood. They had the GPS set to walking mode. Oh, so Monique, it seems like you know the details about that. The person, I don't know if you're joking or if that's true, but the person that drove into a park, oh my gosh, that was so stupid. See, I've used Google Maps a few times in desperation because Uber navigation took me to random buildings, parking lots. You know what? When you use a different navigation, you can kind of go back and forth between the standard Uber navigation and the navigation that you're using. You can tell the differences. Like a lot of times I'm using Waze, and like it says the name of the street, okay? And the Uber navigation has you on the other side of another street, but Waze has me on the correct street. It's like, really? I will say that occasionally it is the other way around though. Occasionally. That's probably why it's a good reason to have both. And what I mean have both, just in your settings, you pick your navigation, but you can still go back and forth between the Uber and whatever navigation you're using. If something seems confusing, look at both and just look at the street and then go with the one that has a street. And that's only when I'm like half a mile away. Me getting there is 100% Waze. Let's see. One time, Uber navigation told me to drive down along a canal sidewalk to get to a pizza place. There's a reason I don't really recommend the Uber navigation, because I heard stories about that. I never actually really used the Uber navigation a whole lot. Even like before I heard of Waze, I was using Google Maps. But I heard some stories, man, about the Uber navigation. I said, you know what? That's just another reason that I've never tried it. Oh, Monique, you were joking. Yeah. Last week, Waze out me behind the building. So Waze puts you behind the building instead of in front. And I will say this, pro of Google Maps, I've never had an issue with it not taking me where I need to go. In terms of when I get there, front, back, whatever, it does take me where I need to go. So that's a pro on Google Maps. Plus, the issue with Waze is user-generated data. So if I want to contribute, I press a few buttons and say a crash was on this or it's traffic here, etc. If not a lot of people in your market are using Waze, then there's no data, and it kind of loses its relevance. Wrong side of the building. Yeah, Waze took me behind a high school because it was the easiest route, but the gates were locked. So yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, B, and also Monique too. That's why it's good to go back and forth between the Uber navigation and Waze. If something doesn't look right, I always double check the street as I'm approaching. And if something doesn't match up, I'm gonna follow the one that puts me on the street. And one thing I like about Waze, other people call out all the speed traps in your city. True. In fact, the big advantage of Waze is it says where the cops are. I gotta admit, I contribute. Like when I see a cop, I'm gonna press those buttons, especially when one is hidden. I press those buttons to kind of warn other people so that they don't. But yeah, that's a huge advantage of Waze. Plus, this is a golden nugget. But how many people actually contribute to Waze? Well, I say contribute, like when you see something, you report it, like crash, this is heavy traffic, cop was over there, fog. Like how many people actually like report on Waze too? Oh, what's up, Isaiah? Long time no see. B, I don't know how. Okay, let me I'll pull that article up and show you how. Because it actually does have a benefit. Let's see. The other day, a stoplight out, I reported, or the police nearby. Oh, okay. Well, if anyone does anything, I guarantee you, most people do appreciate you reporting the police. Let's see. Okay, B. So this is how you report it. So there's a little chat icon at the bottom right of Waze. When you click on it, it's gonna have all these options, like police, crash, whatever. You click on whatever you want to report, and it's gonna memorize when you press the button. So like, don't worry about as you're driving, like, is it gonna report? It's gonna report whatever your location when you press the button, and then you report whatever it is you saw, and you'll get points. And these points are actually one we'll get into next. When you get points, Waze will start notifying you of things that are going on in your city. to watch out for like traffic. And that's where it gets pretty good. Now, the reason this is important is because it's going to let you know, hey, an event is going on, let's say at a real popping place in my market is the American Airlines Center. And it's going to let you know what areas are closed off for construction. Now, that's great and all, but what it's really letting you know is, hey, there's a huge event going on in the city right now. You need to be aware of that. Let's say someone orders around where the American Airlines Center is. You need to know that there's an activity going on there, so you can, whatever way you have of getting into that part of the city, you need to come up with an alternative route. And Waze will let you know about that. I don't have a screenshot, but it happens when you start reporting. So you'll definitely want to start reporting just for that alone, because it definitely has its advantages. And for those of y'all that are dual platformers like me, I just released a video, as in like a few minutes ago, on how I made $22 an hour with Ubereats, being a dual platformer, because we don't get boosts, okay? But UberX will be surging like a basketball game just got out. It's surging hot zone. And that surge, if each order comes in that area, that surge is going to be attached to the meal too. So you also want to know about these events just so you can get some extra money for the dual platformers. But for the Uber Eats only, you just want to know about them. And this is controversial, but if it's too big an event, I may actually retreat to an area of the city where I can't get an order from that part of the city, so I don't have to deal with it in general. But that's a huge pro of Waze. So shame I don't have a screenshot to show y'all, but it'll be covered in the Uber Eats course, so whatever. Let's see. Do you think Uber will start paying us for time, mileage to pick up location? By the way, never heard of Waze before you. Good looking out. Oh, appreciate it, Momo. Well, Uber already pays for time, not mileage, but they pay on time, 13 cents a minute. Like you see, when scratch the 13 cents a minute, that's going to pay on your market. But when you look at your pay details for a trip, it's going to say estimated time. That's in like the moment you accept the ping, that's when the timer starts. So from the moment you accept the ping till you drive to the restaurant, to waiting at the restaurant, to going to the customer, all that is included in time. As far as the mileage, I don't think so. They would have to be forced to. So if Postmates and DoorDash and Amazon and Caviar and all the other apps started doing that, they would probably be the last to do it, because they would feel like they would have to be forced into doing it, which is a shame. But if they did it, see, here's the balance. I don't want them to do that, but then the mileage rate gets cut in half. Because the thing with Uber, if they give some, they usually take some away, okay? So, like this wait time thing, they now pay for wait time on the whole trip, right? But now, select markets that were getting wait time for waiting at the restaurant longer than 15 minutes, that's not in play anymore. See how they gave something but took something away? I don't want them to start paying for mileage on the way to the restaurant, but they slice the mileage rate in half. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I thought the journey to the pickup was unpaid. No, you get paid for time. It's just not that much. So I wouldn't be enthusiastic about them paying for mileage on the way to the restaurant, because I could really see them, they do it, but then they cut the per mile rate in half. I don't want to see that happen. So I'd rather things stay where they are. Is that something that y'all like to see? Uber starting to pay for on the way to the restaurant mileage wise? I started only doing trips under 10 minutes, shaking my head. I hear you, B. With me, it's not so much the time, it's the mileage. Like, I don't take anything more than 3, sometimes 2 miles away. Like, in the Uber Eats course, part 4, I tell you to divide your city or your market into quadrants. And the quadrants in general, they're not any longer than 4 or 5 miles. If I get an order from another quadrant, I'm not going. Like this is the northeast quadrant, and if I get an order from the southeast, I'm not going because it's just too far. Only exception, I don't think there really is an exception. I'm just not going to do it. Let's see. I discovered that while using the Uber navigation, I could tap the top of the screen and a list of the streets appear. At the bottom of the list, they give you the option to switch to Waze navigation. I didn't know they give you an option to switch to Waze navigation because I just use Waze navigation. That is something that the Uber navigation upgraded because it didn't used to be that way where you can tap it just like on Waze and you can preview your route. So that's a good thing that they stepped up. Now, one thing I don't like, I think they should just take it off. Uber is I know they have an advantage in the other apps because they used to be a technology company, but they still are, but they are not a navigation app, okay? So just putting the speed limit, that needs to go. Like I take it off every time I get online because it's half the time it's not accurate. Like I've gotten on the side of the freeway, the side streets, and it'll think I'm on the freeway. So it says the speed limit is 70, but it's like 45. See, stuff like that. I mean, come on. Has anyone had any experiences like that? Let's see. Do you write off every meal when you're out doing Ubereats? Well, as usual, I'm not a tax professional, so I always consult with a tax professional when I give this advice, but I do. And I keep track of my meals using the Stride app because half of your meal is tax deductible. So I'll actually be having my tax advisor, Elijah, because his name is Elijah too. We're going to do a Q&A at the start of the year when, it's tax time for everyone at the start of the year. And he's going to be available to answer any questions about taxes. And I'll get a list from you guys. They're going to be like the top like 15 or 20 questions. We'll just answer those right off the bat. But right after that, he's going to be available to answer like any tax questions. That'll be the Q&A for January of next year. I noticed that trips in the area I do my runs, if the ping says I'm 6 minutes away, it's usually around 2 or 3 miles. 10 minutes equals 5 miles and up. CB, you did something smart. You kind of figured out the minute-mile ratio, and then you incorporate that into if you're going to take it or not. Now, you can also figure out how far it is by the map is going to pop up. And if you're real familiar with your city, you'll know what streets it's telling you to take, and then you can just have an idea, well, hold on, that's way too far. No. I would recommend that no one takes anything farther than 5 miles. That's no. Unless they start paying for mileage on the way there, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. This is where, when I say be entrepreneur-minded, this is where it comes in. Because you'll have people, and they'll be getting pissed off at the restaurants or pissed off at Ubereats because they'll take an order that's like 7 miles away. Then it goes around the corner, and they get paid like $3.50. They get pissed. In my mind, that's your fault, dude. Why would you take something like 7 miles away? Especially these cats, they'll take an order like 7 miles away. Watch that be a McDonald's that you already know it's not going far. It's another thing. Like certain restaurants can go very far. And I watched part 3 or 4 of the Uber Eats course to kind of evaluate that. So you may drive like 5 miles to get somewhere, but the trip ends up going like 9 or 10 miles. Like kind of balances out, but in the same token, that's still not worth it to me. Let's see. B, that's the worst. Oh yeah. Now that's why you gotta B, you'll get familiar with your restaurants and you'll know which ones go far, which ones go short, which ones go medium. So you'll know what to expect. So when you see the ping come up, and you've identified the restaurant, you'd be like, I'm cool, I'll let that pass. Okay, what car I'm guessing you meant Purdue. What car do you use to deliver? What's the fuel economy? Um, 2 lit ecstasy. I drive a Mitsubishi Mirage 2015. It's a compact car, but man, gas wise, it's very efficient. Like in order to fill it up, it takes maybe $20, and it will stay full for. So let's say if I'm Ubereats for 8 hours, it'll stay full 8 hours a day. It'll stay. That gas will last literally like 3 days. Let's see. Monique, what's your question, Monique? Are you questioning the car or the fuel economy? As far as what car I would recommend, I mean, that's really gonna vary. It's not like rideshare, because with rideshare, you got to take into account like people getting in your car, and like a lot of these cars, they weren't built to have a lot of passengers in their car like 24/7. Like something like an Impounda would be built for that, so you have to take that into consideration. But like with delivery, it's just like food in your car, so only thing you really looking at is just the gas. Well, I guess in the cost of the tires and stuff like that, but y'all already know that. B takes me $30 to fill up my 2018 Honda, lasts all week. There you go. Like that's a gas efficiency. That's a good MPG. Yeah, like you definitely want the right vehicle to do this stuff. Like if someone has a truck, I would say you could still do it like something like a gas guzzler, but you should be more biased towards the short trips, because like the longer trips you may actually be losing money. Yeah. I want to get a Prius. Mm-hmm. I will say this. If you're using, it depends on how you're going to do your taxes. If you're going to write off the mileage, you're going to go with the actual expense method. But if you're going to go with the actual expense method, you can write your gas, you can write it off. So it just depends on which method you're going to go with. But if it's your first time doing delivery or rideshare, you have to do the standard mileage deduction. Let me see. I think I could do a motor scooter. Laugh my ass off. You know what? That's not a bad idea. The only problem with doing a scooter, you writing off your mileage won't be an option, so you'll have to go with the actual expense. You know what? I hadn't thought about it, but those line bikes and birds and razor or what, those scooters. What if you did Ubereats on one of those all day? How would that work? Could you write the money you spent off of using that? let me stop. That's actually a good question. I drove a Prius for LabCorp. Best MPG ever. To like $16 to fill up. Damn. That's like a fantasy land. Right now I have a gas guzzler. Seriously though, when it comes to the type of car, I mean, you kind of got to work with what you got. I mean, most people aren't going to go out and like get a new car just to do like delivery or rideshare with. So yeah, that's one of those things you kind of got to play by ear. Do it for a while, kind of get some experiences, and then do what works for you. Like if you do drive a gas guzzler, you may benefit more from doing short trips. And areas that have boost zones may have a special significance to you because you need to be making more money per mile. Do you think you will pay much in taxes this year? Isaiah, that's a tricky question because I have Like if it was just strictly off of Uber Eats, definitely no. But I have other sources of income too. That's one of the reasons I do Uber Eats. That mileage tax deduction, it really offsets a lot of income from other sources. So I would say I'm definitely gonna owe, but it won't be like a whole lot, if that makes any sense. It also depends on if I'm gonna make a huge like tax deductible donation towards the end of the year, which I'm probably will. But if it was just strictly based off like drivers, if this is your only source of income, most likely you're not gonna have to pay that much in taxes, if anything. And if you're like when I have the other Elijah come on to answer questions about taxes, I'm gonna pull up my Stride app, and this is how much I have in tax deductions so far. And if I scroll down the list, if I scroll down the list, okay, that's not gonna work. Let me just go to a page where. But yeah, as I'm scrolling down the list, you see like mileage, you see food and drink. Like you can categorize what you're gonna write off. Has a food and drink, has mileage. See, a lot of people kind of wonder like how I have things set up. Like, see phone service, see advertising. See, like this is where having like a high financial IQ comes in. Like a lot of people wonder, Elijah, why do you use like music in your videos? See, that's not free. BeatsbyNeVs, some of his tracks cost money, and that's money I can write off at the end of the year. Like the app Lifestyle, it costs money, the website, and I can write that off as an expense at the end of the year. Like these things cost money. Anything that costs money for your business, you can write it off. But I'm using the money to make more money. So you can write off your mileage, but start getting creative about other ways that you can write off expenses. Consult with a tax advisor, and that's one thing that me and the other Elijah, when I bring them on at the end of the year, we're gonna get deep into, because a lot of people are kind of leaving money on the table. Like most people don't know, like you're Ubering all day, and you went to a Jack in the Box or whatever, got something to eat. It costs $6 or $7. You don't realize you can write half of that off. Does it seem like much? No, but they add up. Let's say you do 40 hours a week, so about 5 days. That's what you're around $15 to $20 in tax deductions for that week. When it comes to food alone, see, you're making me think I should be more selective on trips. Monique, the thing is, you want to determine what's the level of activity in your market. Like one thing you got to develop the ability to do, you got to identify what is the level of activity that's going on around you right now. I keep dropping nuggets from the advanced Ubereats course, but whatever. There's 4 scenarios. There's the Ubers getting their butt kicked. You can be very selective because they're sending you orders every 2 seconds. There's the area where it's the normal level of activity, maybe a little above normal. Then there's the scenario where it's a little under activity. So you may not be as selective, like something is coming in, like I need to go ahead and take it because it's slow. And then there's a level of activity where it's taking like 15 or 20 minutes to get a ping. In that scenario, you just kind of got to take what you get. Once you identify what scenario you're in, you kind of know, okay, I can be selective because I know I'm going to get another ping in like 2 seconds. Versus the other scenarios where, I know pings are kind of sluggish. Let me go ahead and take this. So that'll take the pressure off of, you feeling like when should I be selective and when should I not be selective? Let's see. Have you heard about Uber Pro, the new incentive program Uber is rolling out in 8 cities? I'm hoping they offer it to Eats. Bob, I have heard about Uber Pro. And if I get enough, I was going to bring it up here because it's a Uber Eats Q&A, but if I get enough like feedback, y'all want me to cover it, I will. Now, I think it's pretty nice. It's a step in the right direction. I honestly think for rideshare, they really just need to raise the rates in general. but it is incentivizing people to do better. Like the rating system, people have criticized Uber for it. Like this is encouraging people to have a high rating through rewards. And me, I have a 4.88 right now as my rideshare rating. I had a 4.96, but then they changed it to your last 500 trips. So for whatever reason, but that's incentivizing you to keep a high rating. So I'm definitely all for it. It's not a replacement for raising the rates. I personally think that for rideshare, the rate should be no less than $1 per mile after Uber's expenses. So you personally take home $1 per mile. That's me personally, but it's a step in the right direction. In particular, the tuition coverage by Uber, that's still pretty appealing. Not to me personally, but just as them offering it. Skipping the airport for you, if you're a diamond, that seems pretty appealing. But I said I was going to cover it if y'all want me to somewhere else, so I'll stop because it's not for Uber Eats. To answer your question, it would be nice if they brought something like that to Uber Eats, but it will already kind of indirectly affect Uber Eats for the better. Because you got to realize a lot of people who do Uber Eats, they're dual platformers. They do Eats and X or whatever. If they start getting those bonuses from UberX, you're going to have less drivers on Uber Eats, which means that there's going to be more activity for Uber Eats. And it may mean that they'll have to raise the boost in some areas. So it will kind of indirectly affect Eats. I don't think they're going to do something like that. Plus, if they feel threatened by the competition, they may have to. Like the reason they're doing that for UberX is because they feel threatened by Lyft. So maybe if Postmates and DoorDash, because those are, and a Grubhub, I think those are Uber Eats' biggest competitors. If they start putting enough pressure, maybe they'll come out with something like that for Uber Eats, because Uber is the bigger company among like all of the apps I just mentioned, so they can do it. And could the other apps compete with them in that terms? They might not. So I guess we'll just have to see. Too late ecstasy. Holy shit, you have more tax deductions than I do in my bank account. I will admit, you're getting me excited because I can't wait to bring my tax guy on for y'all. Because obviously it's mileage now. Don't get me wrong, I get it in as a driver, but there's other things you can do tax deductions for. Like I said, my website's tax deductible. Music that I use, I have to pay him a royalty for. That's tax deductible. So any work I have done on the website, I can personally do it, or I can hire someone to do it for me. It's tax deductible. I'll save it for at the beginning of the year. It's getting me excited though. Let's see. Monique, 10K, that's a lot. Yeah. I started Uber Eats to offset my classroom teaching expenses. Now I'm doing it for extra Xmas money. There you go, Momo. I mean, you use it for what you need. I have bumped into a lot of teachers doing Uber Eats lately. It seems like a good deal because they've been telling me that they're looking for something to do during the summer. Then the summer ends and they keep doing it just because it's a convenient way to make extra money. All they literally got to do is turn the phone on and go. And then they've already developed some skills in doing it. And especially during that time of year, Uber Eats starts throwing out these fat boosts because it gets busy. So it becomes a why not scenario. It's getting pretty popular among teachers. Wonder if it'll be worth it during tax time. Now, Momo, make sure you're tracking your mileage with a third-party app like Stride or QuickBooks Self-Employed or something. Uber tracks a portion of your mileage. I don't think they track the mileage that you're driving to the restaurant. And that makes a big difference. Like a lot of times, if you're tracking your whole mileage, your tax deductible income can end up equaling how much you made that day. And that's what you want, because that's where it bleeds over into offsetting some of your other income in other places. Let's see. New promotion, extra $25 for 20 trips. Is that per day? Auntie Melon, you would have to look at the promotion details because I'm not sure. based on the wording you just said, it looks like they'll give you a time frame. So they'll say from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then they'll say what day it's under. So you want to look under that. Okay, that helps. Thank you, Monique. No problem. Did you say you recommend the standard mileage deduction the first time? Isaiah, it's not that I recommend it. You have to. Like, you can't use the actual expense method until you've had at least 1 year under your belt doing rideshare or delivery. So you have to use a standard mileage deduction. The second year plus, that's when it becomes an option. The only exception to that rule is if you're renting a vehicle. But don't quote me on that. I'll have to ask my tax guy on that because I've never rented a vehicle for rideshare or delivery. But when you're renting a vehicle, you can't write off the standard mileage deduction because it's not your vehicle. So you have to do the actual expense method. If you're looking for an app that can kind of let you know which one is going to be more profitable, the actual expense or the standard mileage deduction, you might want to look into QuickBooks Self-Employed. Like, they have the tools where you can compare. You put the numbers in the system, and they'll compare like which one is going to give you a better write-off. Most cases, it's going to be standard mileage. For delivery, it's when you get to the higher. If you're driving like Uber Black, Uber Lux, these vehicles require you to have commercial insurance. And commercial insurance can run you between $3,000 and $5,000 a year. And that would be something you'd be able to write off if you're doing actual expense. So that's where it comes like, okay, you know what? This mileage is a little overrated. The actual expenses that I need to operate my business may actually exceed that. So let's go ahead and use that. For delivery, is most likely going to be your standard mileage. Okay. Since we talked about two subjects, holidays and navigation, I'll hang around for an hour and 15 minutes, so we still got some time. So does anyone have any questions about how to handle like the holidays coming up or just Ubereats in general? Because you probably are already seeing it, but it's about to get busy, y'all. Like, this time of year is very busy for delivery. And it's busy for a rideshare too. Let's see. We got a lot of tax questions. I'm assuming it's because it's starting to get towards the end of the year. I'm just scared for the snow. Too lit ecstasy. What market are you in? That always is a component when it comes to Ubereats. I will say this is something that Uber, really all these companies need to do. When like conditions are dangerous, like snow that you just mentioned, or just very hectic, I think that these apps should enable like mandatory tipping. The reason I said that's the one situation where I will say, you know what, maybe mandatory tipping should be on there. Because when it's like raining or storming or it's just snow, the people who deserve to get out there, they need to be compensated extra. And if Uber's not going to do it, well, they should just have a switch where it clicks on and like when the customer orders, it's a mandatory tip of at least $2 or $3. What do y'all think about that? Say, Kansas City. Yeah, that seems kind of normal for Kansas City. You got to play that by ear, SC. I mean, you got to decide, is it worth it or not? I can't answer that for you. That's going to ultimately be your decision. Do you take certain days off for Ubereats? Monique Wade. That depends on my schedule. Like, my Ubereats schedule is highly dependent on my appointments in my main career. But I will say this. Certain days are better than others. Like, the beginning of the week is going to be kind of slower. And it's going to be reflected in the boost. They're not going to be as high. The closer you get to the weekend, the more activity you see, and the higher the boosts tend to get. Now, that's not to say that you can't make money towards the beginning of the week. I mean, I've had a Tuesday where most people don't know this, but On the video, how to make $125 a day in the DFW, that was on a Tuesday. And Tuesday is the slowest day of the week. So you want to gather the skills to make money no matter what the day is, but I guess it'll be the most effortless the closer you get towards the end of the week. But if I could, let's say if I just had a whole week and I didn't have to do anything else, I would probably just do the Monday through Friday because the weekends have fat money, but I'm 26, y'all. I mean, I want to be out doing other things on the weekend. I don't want to be out delivering food. So, but there are some days where, well, shoot, I was tied up during the week, so I got to get out there and get it in. See, do you use DoorDash? If so, can you make a pros and cons video? B, I guess when I did the do I drive for Lyft and do I drive for Postmates, that's kind of started a trend. I don't drive for DoorDash, B, and the people have been subscribed to me for a while. They know I don't hop on a bunch of apps. I mainly do Uber and Ubereats, and I have Postmates as a backup and Lyft as a backup. And y'all have been asking me forever to make those videos, so that's why I made those. But those are pretty much the only videos I'll be making on other apps. The thing I probably don't like about DoorDash, they're too employee-like. It's not as bad as Lyft, but they're like on you every 2 seconds doing delivery, and that's something I don't have I guess I'm not emotionally stationed for that. I mean, you tell me what you need done, I'm gonna get it done. Don't be on my ass every 2 seconds, otherwise I'm just gonna cut you off. That's the vibe I get from DoorDash. And the whole shift thing is kind of lazy to me. It's like they're too skittish to convert to the turn on button like Uber Eats and Postmates do. So DoorDash not really my flavor. Me too. I just got a new car and I don't want to crash it over Uber Eats. Ecstasy. Yeah, I mean, you got I think you might have been talking to someone else in the chat. So, but yeah, just on that note, you definitely want to make sure you're keeping up with just the well-being of your cars. Maybe in the future I'll get a mechanic on the app lifestyle just to cover basic maintenance stuff that people should do. People do so stupid things. They'll complain about this is tearing down my car, but these are the same people that they won't get an oil change in 6 months. I'm like, what do you expect? I mean, come on. So you would have had a problem even if you weren't driving for delivery. Let's see. Do you do okay on Monday and Tuesday? In my market, some of the healthcare professionals get paid on Thursdays. Monique, generally, Monday will be the higher of the 2 days between Monday and Tuesday, because sometimes Tuesdays will get kind of slow because it is the slowest day of the week. Versus on Mondays, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's the beginning of the week. People may get lazy. They don't want to cook. So they'll go ahead and click Uber Eats. Tuesday will be the lesser of those 2 days. But generally speaking, I don't have any issue making between $100 and maybe $130 on a Monday or Tuesday. If I'm doing the 8 hours a day, like lunch rush and dinner rush. Now, you said in your market, some healthcare professionals get paid on Thursday. That's another reason towards the end of the week can produce better results. Keep up with when people get paid in your market. It's usually Thursdays and Fridays. A lot of people, they have to buy weekly pay, so it's every other Thursday or every other Friday. If you notice a trend of getting higher tips every other Thursday or every other Friday, you need to take that into consideration. Like a lot of people wondering why the tips might be low. It could also be they're not working the right hours and days. A lot of people, they'll tip you, and they can still tip you later on the app. And some people do, but if they ordered on that day they got paid, they might just be a tad bit more generous than normal. Let's say we're going to tip you $2, but those kind of people, they might tip you like $5, sometimes $10. There's a direct correlation, so y'all need to pay attention to that. Let's see. So I go to the medical district. Monique, that has its advantages. Like you just pointed one, also has its disadvantages. Um, I don't like hospitals, guys. I really don't. I don't like them in general, but especially not delivering. Now, the people that work there, they always meet me outside. Well, most of the time. I did have one time, but I didn't ask them to meet me outside. So I'm going to say that's on me. But most of them meet you outside. But you have patients ordering food. And some of these cats, they like order like fried chicken and they're in the hospital. I'm like, I don't know what they're in there for, but let's say they're in there for clogged arteries. I don't think that's the best solution, dude. You won't know until you get there, but there are certain hospital districts I tend to avoid. But in Monique's case, she's seeing a reflection in tips, so that's something to take in consideration. Why do I get sleepy when I drive? Am I the only one? Momo, when do you? Did you say you do like the lunch rush and dinner rush? Was that someone else? Because do you drive overnight, or is it just in general you get sleepy? If it's just in general, if it's just in general, you that could be a sign you need some like some exercise or just some more exercise in your life. To answer your question, if I do overnight, yeah, I might get sleepy. Now the crazy thing is, when I was at Amazon, I used to work overnight, but that was like 2 years ago. My body was conditioned for it. Your body's gonna switch back to what you do regularly. So if I was to get out there and do it, eyes might start dragging around, midnight or 1 o'clock. One thing that could help you with that, take advantage of the fact that no one else is in the car. I'm sure you got a boss soundtrack in your vehicle that you can start banging to get the energy up. I'm sure that all of us have done that at some point. Like, how many of y'all, that you start getting a little sleepy, say, you know what, we got to crank this energy up. You put on something that's going to get you pumped up on the CD, iPod, whatever. So you might want to look into that too. And if you're already doing that, turn it up a little. I mean, don't make your eardrums bleed, but just enough to get the adrenaline pumping. Monique says she does it. I think everyone has done it at some point. Yeah, I definitely have a lot. Ubereats playlist, haha. There you go. In fact, if you do what B is talking about, you're gonna kind of get used to, like, funny thing with music, when you listen to it when you're doing a certain activity, it's gonna kind of arouse like the energy of doing that activity. So you're used to hearing this particular song, you kind of associate it with doing Ubereats, and it kind of throws you back in the mode that you need to be in. Just helping you. What's the longest trip you've done for Lyft and Ubereats? Okay, I'll answer Lyft first. Longest trip on Lyft, I would say it's been about 30 miles. It's an airport request, and it paid like about $35 or $36 if I remember right. Longest trip on Ubereats. You know what? I screenshotted this, and I was gonna put it in the video eventually. I'm gonna try and find it. This is the longest trip that I've. Okay, I'm gonna put my. Dang it, I haven't blurred this out, so I need to cover up the address. But my phone has been very difficult. Okay, this is the longest request I've done on Uber Eats. Is it zooming in? Dang it. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna blur it real quick. But to answer your question, it's coming up. Isaiah, every day, as far as bumping that music. And music is a powerful thing. Don't let it go to the waste. I mean, use it when you need to. Okay, let me see. while I'm doing that, did a 30-mile trip yesterday on Lyft for $25. Never mind, Aloha. Just helping you. Yeah, I mean, overall, rideshare is going to pay more. So, oh my gosh, why is this phone being so difficult? Okay, well, just forget it. I'll just tell you. The longest trip that I've done, it has been 11.3 miles on Ubereats, and it was for 21 minutes. How much did I make? I think I made like $17. So yeah, that's the longest trip I've done on Uber Eats. I really wanted to show y'all, but my phone is acting up, and I can't show like the person's address on the live stream, so I would need to blur it out. But for whatever reason, my phone is acting stupid. So I'll be using the message in the video eventually anyway. All right, got 5 minutes left. So closing out, overall, when it comes to navigation, what would y'all say is y'all's favorite app? Because a lot of y'all seem like y'all have used multiple ones, so you kind of have a feel for each one. Which one are you gonna roll with? It's gonna be Waze, Google Maps, or the Uber navigation. I didn't say this, but one advantage about the Uber navigation is it's not as taxing on your phone. I mean, everything is happening in one app. Thank you, Elijah, signing off the nap before dinner rush. No problem, Monique. Appreciate you coming through. Had a lot of good questions. I know for a fact a lot of people have had those questions and now they've gotten answered. So it's much appreciated. Isaiah, so no weekends for you. If I can avoid Isaiah, don't get me wrong, I will do weekends every now and then. It's just a lot of times I don't want to say I'm tied up, but I would rather get the Uber Eats finished by the end of the weekend. Because like all that money on the weekend is tempting, but it is a weekend. There's gonna be a lot of activities going on. Like when I do UberX that's another thing. I might want to just do UberX on the weekends because for bar rush, because a 4.0 surge, I'll take that over delivery any day. But shoot, don't get me wrong. And sometimes I prefer to be the passenger just getting picked up by Uber than the other way around. You don't want to become a workaholic. I would say at least one weekend in the month. Like, make sure you don't do any Uber Eats and just enjoy the weekend. Because you can easily, like, your weekends can easily get tied up because they throw so much money on the weekends because they're covering their bases. Long trips are only worth it if it's prime time surging. Regular rates are very bad, just helping you. I would say in general that's true, but I would make an exception for airport requests. People that go to airports, they're usually pretty financially well off. These are business executives or people that travel a lot, so they have some grip. So you can use your personality to influence a pretty high tip from them. I mean, it's not too uncommon to get a $20 tip from an airport ride. So it kind of balances out the, normal rates. So I'll do an airport request and, where we're chopping up having a great time. And, they get out the car, hey, it was great. And most of the time they send me immediately. I make the exception to that rule for airport requests, like someone on the street. I would say medium requests are probably their best case scenario. Like, I don't want someone getting in my car and they're going around the corner and I get a minimum fare. I tend to avoid those trips. Yeah, they're fine doing rush hour because you want short trips to keep you in that range. But I would rather have like people going like 3 miles, get paid for that, than get another person going 3 miles, etc. You can get within that $20 per hour range doing that. And if you get a long trip, well, it'll take you out the like hot zone. And if you get baby trips, then I consider them kind of annoying. So the break-even point is the medium trips. Uber navigation is good for Maryland, but it jacks me up in DC, so I use Waze. Oh, so I guess they don't have their stuff together in DC. True, airport requests usually tip. Like a lot of people with tip, they may not have the ability to. So it also comes down to who you're serving. Like the airport clientele, these people are usually fairly well off. And a lot of them, they have it in their mind, if this Uber driver wows me, I'm going to tip. So if you wow them, they're going to tip. It's just as simple as that. Yeah. Shoot, we've reached an hour and 15 minutes. So we're going to officially sign off. I'd like to thank y'all for joining us for the app lifestyle. I still got to get used to saying that, but the app lifestyle Q&A. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below after this video is posted. And I'd encourage y'all to join us next time. We host this every first Sunday of the month. And there's going to be plenty of money out there, guys. So make sure y'all stay safe, Uber on, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.